And now...
What is this?
I know you're gonna dig this.
This is the Flatland Sports Podcast.
Where do you come from? Lubbock, Texas?
Lubbock, Texas.
A place called Lubbock.
I wonder if they think I'm so gorgeous back in Lubbock.
What do you care about Lubbock? You're big time now.
I'm just a little homesick, that's all.
Is that what you want, Larry, to spend the night in Lubbock, Texas at a day's inn with a $15 voucher from Cinnabon?
Lubbock? No, it's near Lubbock.
What's it like there?
It's flat, real flat. You stand on a coffee can, you can see Colorado.
How are you doing from across the Great Plains of West Texas? This is the Flatland Sports Podcast, free and available worldwide on YouTube and Spotify. This episode of the Flatland Sports Podcast is powered by Midwest Helmets, where owner Dallas Thompson is turning football masterpieces into a full-on experience. If you've ever wanted a custom helmet of any team, any design, or a wild concept straight from your imagination, if you want to put the classic double T on a Bass Boat Glitter helmet, Dallas can put the classic double T on a Bass Boat Glitter helmet. If you want a helmet to rep your fantasy football team, Dallas can make you a helmet to rep your fantasy football team. Whatever you're looking for, Dallas will bring it to life with incredible detail. These are one-of-a-kind helmets that will level up your office, man cave, studio, anywhere you rep your team. To order, just send Midwest Helmets a DM on Instagram or hit their Facebook page. The link's in the description. And if you mention Flatland Sports in your message, you'll score 10% off your custom helmet. Midwest Helmets, custom, bold, and built to stand out. For Flatland Sports, I am Christopher Johnston. It is Big 12 Championship Week. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're here, help me out. Like the video, double check that you are subscribed. It doesn't cost a thing, and it helps the show grow. Lots to get into today. We will talk about the beatdown that took place in Morgantown, West Virginia. Talk about the college football playoff rankings from last night. We will grade the position groups, preview the Big 12 Championship as against the BYU Cougars. We'll also have the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we will pick the conference championship games from around the country, and so much more. But first, Red Raiders in action. We'll start with women's basketball, sitting at 9-0 today as we sit, after wins versus Old Dominion 67-42 and North Texas 67-47. We'll start with Old Dominion. Jalen Bristow recorded a double-double with 18 points and 10 rebounds. Snuda Collins putting up 10 points and 2 assists. And then UNT 67-47. Bailey Maupin put up 22 points. Snuda Collins had another night in double figures with 10 points. Lady Raiders are back in action tonight versus Wichita State. That is a 6 p.m. tip-off at United Supermarkets Arena. You can watch it on ESPN+. Men's basketball finished the week 2-0, bounced back after a sort of a disappointing performance in the Bahamas. Played New Orleans, won that game 82-50. That was last Wednesday. JT Toppin recorded a double-double with 19 points and 16 rebounds. Christian Anderson, a career-high 6 3-pointers. Wyoming on Sunday, that was a much closer game than we were comfortable with. JT Toppin, 27 points, 9 rebounds. Christian Anderson finished that game 15 points. Luan Watts stepped up in that game, 19 points total in the win. It feels like as we sit right now, it's JT Toppin with a little sprinkle of Christian Anderson and nobody else. What we really need is just for players to step up. And we got that a little bit with Luan Watts versus Wyoming. You just need consistency, especially from Luan Watts. He is the guy who was brought in to replace Darian Williams. And overall, too, the team needs to play much, much better defense. Now, the good news is all things are fixable. All of these things specifically are fixable. This isn't a talent issue. This isn't a skill issue. You hope it's not a culture issue in terms of players not wanting to play defense. I don't get that vibe from this team. It's just everyone needs to mesh better issue. And in Grant McCaslin, I trust. If anyone can fix it, it's him. Remember, basketball, specifically college basketball, and specifically Texas Tech college basketball, is different than it was 10 years ago. Every team is essentially, it's like a giant game of pickup basketball. Every team is starting from scratch each season, which is good because that means any given season you are potentially running for a national championship. It also means that every season, without any prior warning, could be a season where you just fall on your face. But the days of you spend 4 years building up a roster, developing them from freshmen are long gone. You're putting a team together at the beginning of the year every year to make a national championship run. From a fan standpoint, that's incredible because every year could potentially be the year. But the downside is it takes time for players to start gelling. Now, if we are midway through conference play and this is still an issue, then it might be time to go ahead and hit the panic button. But as we sit right now, you just gotta hold on tight, see what happens against the LSU Tigers coming up next Wednesday. When we come up, we will recap the beatdown against the West Virginia Mountaineers. This is the Flatland Sports Podcast. Texas Tech returned from Morgantown, West Virginia, victorious in every possible way. Final score 49-0. The win secures your first 11-win regular season since 2008, your second 11-win season in school history, regular season win in school history. That was 2008 and 2025. And your third 11-win season overall in school history, with 1973 being the third one. That was the year that Joe Barnes led the Red Raiders to a win over the Tennessee Volunteers in the Gator Bowl. You will now play for your first ever Big 12 championship game. The closest you got was 2008. You got hosed on a 3-way tie between Texas and Oklahoma and Texas Tech. If you win, you will have secured your first conference championship since 1994. That was when Texas Tech was co-champions in the Southwest Conference. And this will be your first outright conference championship since 1955 when the Red Raiders won the Border Conference. As far as the game itself, just an absolute beatdown. 49-0 was the final. Your second complete shutout of the year. Oklahoma State was the last one, 42-0. And what's interesting, I would consider West Virginia to be a better team than Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State 1-11 this year. West Virginia was playing at home. They've had some good wins this season. They beat a ranked Houston team on the road. They had been playing much better in recent weeks in Rich Rod's first season in his return to West Virginia. Now let's go through some stats to paint the picture here. Texas Tech, 32 first downs. West Virginia only had 9 for the entire game. Third down efficiency, the Red Raiders converted 14 out of 21 attempts. West Virginia, 2 for 13. Fourth down efficiency, Texas Tech was 3 for 3, got every single fourth down attempt that they made. West Virginia, 0-2. And then total yards, Texas Tech 572 to West Virginia's 180. And the most telling stat of the night, rushing yards, Texas Tech had 188, West Virginia 37. And if there was one single number to paint a picture of what Texas Tech has been doing to teams all season, it's that 37 total rushing yards for the West Virginia Mountaineers. The very first possession, Texas Tech forced a 3-and-out. Got the ball back, turned around and scored. It was just lather, rinse, repeat, basically the rest of the game. West Virginia never truly had anything going for them. The game was effectively over midway through the second quarter. Baron Morton was pulled after halftime. Looked about as healthy as I think we've ever seen him. We'll talk a little bit more about Baron Morton coming up later. It just feels like the pieces are coming together for Joe McGuire at just the right time. And what's more important, the College Football Playoff Committee seems to have taken notice and clearly holds Texas Tech in high regard. Texas Tech checking in at number 4 yesterday, securing a first-round bye with a win in Arlington. Something that most thought was impossible, mainly due to the patch on your jersey and the logo on your helmet. When the Big 12 seemed like it was never going to compete again and the SEC and Big 10 taking over seemed inevitable, I said the Big 12, and by extension Texas Tech, needed to do was, as they said in Gladiator, win the crowd. You show the masses that the SEC is full of expletive deleted, and B, the Big 12 can win games at the highest level. And you started doing that with TCU beating the Big 10 champion Michigan to make a national championship game in 2022. Last season, Arizona State taking Texas to double overtime and was a 4th and 16 stop, or perhaps a competent officiating crew away from knocking the SEC out of the playoff entirely last season. But the real kicker and what's really doing it for Texas Tech right now was the last offseason, where Texas Tech, along with BYU, proved that a team from the Big 12 can recruit at the highest level. Taking the number one portal class away, signing 5-star after 5-star for the 26 and 27 recruiting cycles. And some point to the fact that Texas Tech is using NIL to level the playing field. They're pointing at Cody Campbell. They bought their team, yada, yada, yada. The people who are paying attention, however, understand that all successful teams are using NIL right now. And frankly, they've been using them since before NIL was legal. And B, Texas Tech has built a legit roster with guys who were targeted by schools like Texas, Ohio State, Notre Dame, and Georgia. Texas Tech is winning with that legit roster as well. You had a lot of people pointing to Texas A&M a couple seasons ago who spent obscene amounts of money on their roster in NIL and then just fell flat on their faces. And that was the comparison people were making to the Red Raiders at the beginning of the season. And Texas Tech now, sitting at 11-1, have proved that a team from Lubbock who plays in the little old Big 12 has a roster that can match the SEC player for player and is winning games now to back it up. And the committee sees it, and soon the country will find out that everything, in fact, runs through Lubbock. When we return, we'll grade the position groups. This is the Flatland Sports Podcast. It's time now to grade the position groups. We'll start with the quarterbacks, and you can probably guess where this will go. Baron Morton, you get an A, 25 for 32, 310 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Now, Morton, of course, was only one of 4 quarterbacks to play yesterday. Lloyd Jones came in, had a really good second half. He was 4 for 5, 74 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Mitch Griffiths made an appearance as well. He let a fumble go. Jacob Rodriguez came in. He ran a touchdown in and then threw an interception. Now, Jacob Rodriguez interception ratio still much better than the average quarterback. Moving on now to the running backs, you also get an A, as you probably guessed. Cam Dickey was your leading rusher, 12 carries, 79 yards. No touchdowns on the ground for Cam Dickey. Jacoby Williams, 15 carries, 60 yards. He had 1 touchdown. And Oliver Miles, Lloyd Jones, Adam Hill, and Mitch Griffiths all putting up ground stats. Jacob Rodriguez had 1 carry, 1 yard, and 1 touchdown. That was the opening touchdown of the game. Moving on to the receivers and tight ends, Texas Tech, of course, you get an A. Caleb Douglas, your leading receiver, he had 5 catches, 127 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Terrence Carter was a huge factor in this game as well, and having a healthy Terrence Carter makes all the difference in the world for this offense. 10 catches, 98 yards, no touchdowns, but he was very much responsible for setting up most of your red zone possessions. Micah Hudson also made an official appearance in the game. He had 2 catches for 2 touchdowns. Reggie Virgil, a little bit quiet in this game. He played mainly in the first half, 2 catches for 29 yards. Coy Eakin, Cam Dickey, Tristan Gentry, Leighton Stone, and Jacoby Williams all getting catches for the Red Raiders. Offensive line, if we go back to the stats that the team stats that we mentioned earlier, Texas Tech rushed for over 130 yards on the ground. That's all you need. Baron Morton was sacked 4 times, a little bit more than maybe you would have liked. Most of those coming in scrambles. But overall, the offensive line gets an A. In defense, as you know, I grade defense on a pass-fail scale. It's definitely a pass, and if you're passing with an A here, West Virginia was held to, if I can pull that number now, 29 total rushing yards. 37 total rushing yards on the ground. Just an absolute smothering of the Texas Tech defense by the Texas Tech defense of the West Virginia Mountaineers. And then special teams, Tristan Gentry, well, first of all, special teams, you get an A. Tristan Gentry had 2 punt returns for 12 yards. As far as punt returns, kick returns go, it's more of a pass-fail scale based on, did you do anything stupid? Nobody did anything stupid, and you get an A as a result. Micah Hudson had 1 kick return, returned it for 21 yards, almost broke that one through for a touchdown. Stone Harrington did not kick a single, in fact, the Red Raiders did not kick a single field goal at all for the entire game. Every score came from a touchdown. Stone Harrington was 6 for 6 on extra points. Ian Hershey came in 1 for 1. So overall, 7 for 7. You accounted for 7 total points. And then Jack Burgess did what Jack Burgess does. 2 punts, 82 total yards, averaged 44 yards, put them both inside the 20. Teams pinned inside their own 20-yard line. They don't score against Texas Tech with this defense. So to recap, everybody gets an A. We're just calling recess right now. Just an absolute dominating performance by the Red Raiders against West Virginia. When we come back, we will preview the Big 12 championship game, Texas Tech versus BYU. This is the Flatland Sports Podcast. Big 12 championship weekend is upon us as Texas Tech will take on the number 11 BYU Cougars for the second time this season. It'll be an 11 a.m. kickoff on ABC. Texas Tech a 12.5 point favorite. What do we need to know about BYU? The Cougars come in 11-1, number 11 in the college football playoff rankings, which they're being absolutely hosed by the committee, who is just hell-bent on keeping BYU away from the playoff, it seems, despite the fact that the Cougars have a much better playoff resume than half of the field right now, including Notre Dame and Alabama. The playoff committee in the selection show said verbatim that BYU needs to win to get in, so which is ridiculous, but that's what's at stake here for the Cougars. Texas Tech firmly in the playoff, or at least that's what's being portrayed. Now, I trust the College Football Playoff Committee about as far as you can throw them. Even at number 4, a loss, depending on how the loss is, could give the committee a reason to drop Texas Tech out of the playoff altogether. Maybe drop them not just out of a first-round bye, but from hosting a home game. You never know, and especially with what they're doing with BYU right now, you have to assume that they'll do the same thing to you if given the opportunity. Now, the last time Tech played BYU was November 8th. Texas Tech won 29-7. And in my opinion, a big reason why BYU is struggling with the committee right now, getting blown out by Texas Tech when they had the one time that they did have the national spotlight. This is an improved BYU team coming into Arlington, though. Texas Tech has also improved, especially on offense. Players to watch. We'll start with, of course, Bear Bachmeier, the BYU quarterback. He is now 208 for 322, 14 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. Now, the last time in Lubbock, he was 23 for 38, 188 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Jumped into this role, of course, after Jake Retzlaff left the team, and most assumed BYU season was over before it started. And Bachmeier just absolutely rose to the challenge. Last time around, he may not have been prepared for the Texas Tech defensive onslaught that was coming. I expect Bachmeier to be ready for it this time. You expect a quicker release and quicker decision making to avoid sacks. When you know they're coming, that's all you can do. Another player to watch, LJ Martin. He has 217 carries, 11 touchdowns. Now, the last time he had 10 carries, 35 total yards. Was effectively shut down by the Red Raider defense. Chase Roberts, the wide receiver, last time around, 6 catches, 61 yards, and 1 touchdown. And on defense, watch out for Jack Kelly. He has 40 solo tackles. He leads the team in sacks with 9. Last time around, he tallied up 2 tackles, though, for against the Red Raiders. Keys to the game. First, stop the run. Do what you did last time. Stop the run. Do what you've been doing all season and just take the running game out of the game altogether and force Bear Bachmeier to throw. That brings me to key number 2. Put pressure on Bachmeier. If you're going to force him to throw, make him uncomfortable, force him to make throws before plays fully develop, force him to make bad decisions as you did last time, and just get him frustrated. Don't give him a chance to get in any kind of a rhythm, and you'll come out on top. And then on the other side of the ball, make plays in the red zone. This has been the key for the last couple of weeks, and it's something that Texas Tech has absolutely been able to do. You've improved very much so in the last couple of games. Find ways to score touchdowns instead of field goals, and the Red Raiders will come out on top. Final thoughts on the game. BYU is a great team And I mean, really a great team. They are absolutely a college football playoff caliber team and a much improved team since you faced them last. Texas Tech, in my opinion, is just a better team right now. Texas Tech has also improved. They are playing like a team that has their sights set on a national championship. And a lot of people will talk about how much better it would be for the Big 12 if BYU won, maybe a close game. Maybe it just securing the auto bid for BYU, giving the Big 12 two automatic teams in the college football playoff. I don't care. The Big 12 took our tortillas away. Give us our tortillas back. I don't care what's good for the Big 12. I'm taking Texas Tech to win this game 38-21. When we come back, we'll have the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is the Flatland Sports Podcast presented by Midwest Helmets.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
It's time now to take a look at who's rising, who's falling, and who just wants it to end. This is the good, the bad, and the ugly. We'll start with the good. Texas Tech is playing for a Big 12 championship game. I've waited my whole life for this. I've been here since the Spike Dykes years, lived through the highs of the Mike Leach eras. I stayed with it through Tuberville, Cliff, and Wells. Told people to wait, it will pay off eventually, and that's what's happening now. This is what it's all about. Just a absolutely incredible time to be a Texas Tech Red Raider right now. Enjoy it. We don't know what the future holds. 2008 and 2009 taught us that. Next year could be an absolute disaster as far as we know. I'm not putting that out there. And I don't think it will be. But right now, as we sit today, everything is good and there's nothing that anyone can do to take that away from us. Also good, Kalani Sitake not leaving BYU. I thought I was going to have to do a whole segment on the show about Kalani Sitake just screwing over BYU the same way that Lane Kiffin did Ole Miss. All faith has been restored about what is good about college football. Kalani Sitake has been the BYU head coach for 10 years, was rumored to be the prime candidate for the Penn State job. At one point, it was being reported that he was absolutely going to accept that job. It turned out he was essentially using that not to leverage a raise for himself, but to get his assistants more money. And BYU announcing yesterday that Kalani Sitake has signed a contract extension. Also good, the Longhorn Tears. My goodness, they have surpassed the level of whining that I didn't even think was possible from the Texas crowd. Moving on now to the bad, Arizona State losing the Territorial Cup. It hurts to lose that game no matter what. The loss causes the Sun Devils to completely fall out of the rankings. I will say Arizona State should hold their head up. They way overperformed with Sam Leavitt out. Not a bad season at all, despite the disappointment as far as injuries were concerned. Also bad, Oklahoma State lost to Iowa State. You finished the season 1-11. But it's over now, and now you can just focus on looking forward to the Eric Morris era coming up. Moving on now to the ugly. Baylor, still a huge mess right now, lost to Houston 31-24. Dave Aranda was given a contract extension. It's just not, it doesn't look like it's going to be good for Baylor anytime soon. Kansas State won versus Colorado, finished the season 6-6. That's not really the ugly part. Now, what is ugly is they were predicted to win the Big 12 altogether. They were the front-running team going into the preseason. But what's ugly is the fan base now trying to force out a coach who's responsible for a Big 12 championship 3 years ago and has consistent 8, 9, and 10-win seasons. And they're trying to force him out after one down year. Just ridiculous. And Kansas State fans need to really be reminded. They're all too young now, but need to be reminded of what life was like pre-Bill Snyder in the 70s and 80s. When we return, we will be back for one more. We'll pick the conference championship games from around the country. This is the Flatland Sports Podcast, presented by Midwest Helmets. Back for one more. It's time now to take a look across the college football country and go through the conference championship games this weekend. They start on Friday, this December 5th. First one, we're talking about Troy versus James Madison. That is the Sun Belt Championship. That is a 6 p.m. kickoff on ESPN. James Madison comes into this game ranked 25th in the country. They are a 23.5-point favorite. I think they're just going to have their way with Troy. I think this James Madison team is one of those special G5 teams. They would be a shoo-in for the college football playoff were it not for the one loss that they have of the season. That game is going to be James Madison 31-21. Moving on now to North Texas versus Tulane in the American Athletic Championship. That is a 7 p.m. kickoff on ABC. North Texas comes in at 24, Tulane at 20. North Texas a 2.5-point favorite, basically a toss-up. And as much as I love North Texas, and I will be rooting for North Texas to win this game, I love a good group of 5 upset. I think Tulane's going to get this one. I don't think it's going to be a relatively high-scoring game, as everyone seems to think. It's going to be 21-17, Tulane. Moving on now to Saturday, the SEC championship game, number 3 Georgia versus number 9 Alabama. I have no idea how the SEC tiebreakers work. It's incredible that A&M sitting at 11-1 right now, and only one loss in the SEC is didn't get the cut. But we're not going to cry for the Aggies right now. 3:00 start time on ABC. Georgia a 2.5-point favorite, and Georgia is, in my opinion, by far the better team here. I think they're going to win this one 28-24. 7 p.m. on Fox, the Big Ten Championship, number 2 Indiana versus number 1 Ohio State. The supposed game of the week. Ohio State a 4-point favorite total. Indiana is a team that you just wonder about. They're playing at a really high level. I'm not entirely sure who they've played and who they've beaten. This will be the first time that they've played Ohio State this season. Last season, that was where it all ended, and I think that's where it's all going to end for them this week. Ohio State's going to win this game 24-13. And that might be a very conservative look at what Ohio State, I think, is going to do to Indiana on Saturday. And then the last game of the night, 7 p.m. on ABC, Duke and Virginia. Virginia comes in ranked number 17. Duke comes in with a 7-5 record and just is just as surprised to be there as everyone is surprised of them through a ACC tiebreaker situation. And I'll be rooting like crazy for the Duke Blue Devils, not because I want to see the ACC fall apart, but because I genuinely love a good Cinderella story. Virginia, a 3.5-point favorite over the Duke Blue Devils. As I look at this game, it's going to sound crazy. I actually believe Duke is going to win this game and just throw a wrench through the entire ACC season, the entire college football playoff selection committee's process. I don't see Virginia's a really good team. I just don't think it's a good matchup. And I think Duke's going to find a way to win this one. This is the upset that I'm going to call. Duke is going to win this game 24-14 and win the ACC championship as an 8-5, a 7-5 regular season team. That's all I've got for you. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. It helps the channel grow. If you've got a question, concern, fits of rage, whatever it is, leave a comment. I'll be happy to read it on the next show. I'll be back after the Big 12 championship game on Twitter X for the official Flatland Sports live post-game show. The Flatland Sports Podcast is presented, of course, by Midwest Helmets. I'll have a link in the description for their Facebook page and their Instagram page. Give them a holler. Let them go make a great custom helmet for you. For Flatland Sports, I am Christopher Johnson. Thank you very much for joining me today, and Wreck 'em Tech.